Good morning, sir.
Morning, sir.
Mr. Albert, you and I have never met, correct?
I don't believe so.
You've testified that you've essentially lived in Canton your whole life, correct?
Correct.
Moved there when you were 4 years old,
Correct.
and the house to which you and your family moved was 34 Fairview, correct?
Yes.
You lived there for how long?
33 years?
And you currently own D&E Pizza in Canton?
Correct.
I believe you testified that you've owned it for approximately 25 years?
Correct.
Clearly, you have a lot of ties to the city of Canton. Would you agree?
Sure.
You live there?
Yes.
You work there?
Yes.
You have family there?
Yep.
You raised your kids there?
Yep.
And you also are a town selectman in the city of Canton? Or
Recently elected.
the town of Canton, I should say.
It's a town, correct.
And not only that, but your brother, Kevin Albert, is a police officer in Canton?
He is.
Your brother, Brian Albert, with whom you grew up, is currently retired, but had been a Boston police officer who lived in Canton, correct?
Correct.
You would agree with me that Brian Albert only moved from Canton after John O'Keefe was found dead on his front lawn, correct?
Can you rephrase that?
I'll phrase it the exact same way and ask for a yes or no if you can do that. You would agree with me that your brother Brian Albert only moved from Canton after John O'Keefe was found dead on his front lawn?
Objection.
Can you answer that? Can you answer that?
Yeah, I just don't understand the phrase, but he moved shortly after that, yes.
Your brother Tim Albert lives with your parents in Canton, correct?
Correct.
And Tim Albert and your parents live directly across the street from the Canton Police Department, correct?
Correct.
Do you know whom they bought that house from?
Objection.
The objection sustained.
But you still live in Canton
Correct.
with your wife Julie Albert
Correct.
and your son Colin Albert, correct?
Along with my other two sons, yes.
And you would agree that your entire family has deep roots in the town of Canton?
I guess.
You would agree with me that the Albert family is well known in the town of Canton?
We have a big family.
And you would agree with me that the Albert family is a powerful family in the town of Canton?
Objection.
Sustained.
As a town selectman, you have some power, do you not?
I'm one of 5 selectmen.
And as a police detective, Kevin Albert has some power, does he not?
Objection.
Sustained.
And you also have close friends on the Canton Police Department, do you not?
Objection.
I'll allow that.
I have some.
Now, you know that Massachusetts State Police Trooper Michael Proctor is the lead investigator on this case, correct?
I know that.
One of your wife's best friends is Michael Proctor's sister, Courtney Proctor, correct?
Objection.
Okay, that's sustained. You've got another witness you can ask that of, Mr. Yannetti.
You know Courtney Proctor, correct?
Objection.
Allowed.
Yes,
And you know her to be Michael Proctor's sister, correct?
that's correct.
You attended Michael Proctor's sister's wedding, correct?
Objection, Your Honor. May we approach?
Sure. Why don't you come on over?
I believe you testified, sir, that you've known Michael Proctor's sister for about 20 years?
Objection.
All right, I don't think he said that, but we'll let that stand and then move on, please.
About 20 years? You testified?
Or if that's,
I believe, didn't you testify to that on direct examination just moments ago when Mr. Lally was asking you questions?
Objection, Your Honor.
Next question, Mr. Yannetti, objection sustained.
How long have you known Michael Proctor for?
I mean, I know he's Courtney's sister, brother. I couldn't tell you exactly how long I've known him for.
About 15 years or so?
Roughly.
All right. Who is Kenneth Berkowitz,
The former Canton police chief.
and how do you know him?
His son and my son are the same age, so they played on some sports teams when they were younger together. I think that's when I first came to know Ken.
You became friendly with him.
I became friendly with him, sure.
And how would you characterize your relationship with him?
Friends?
You've seen him socially.
Really.
You've been out for drinks with him.
I think maybe once.
And you've known him for how long?
20 plus years.
And you say you've only been out with him for drinks one time in those 20 years?
I can't even remember if it was with drinks one time. Yeah, no.
What other types of activities have you done together?
I can't think of any. I think he came to an event that I held one time. That's about it.
Have you been out with him in a group setting?
That event that I just mentioned, yeah.
And what event was that?
It was my campaign event when I was running for select board.
He was one of your supporters.
He came by.
Did he donate money to your campaign?
I think he did.
May we approach, Judge?
Yes.
Sir, I'm going to display a photograph with the court's permission on the screen, and I'd ask you to take a look at it, and if you can let the jury know.
Do you have a hard copy of it?
Yes, we do have a hard copy.
So why don't you show it to the witness and
Happy
put
to
it in
do that.
evidence?
Thank you, Ron.
Okay? And we'll take that into evidence and then.
That makes sense. May I approach, Judge?
Yes.
Okay, sir, I've handed you a photograph. Do you recognize what that depicts?
Yes.
What does it depict?
Me and Kenny Berkowitz.
And is that a fair and accurate representation of you and Kenny Berkowitz?
You mean is the picture us?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. I would offer that, Your Honor.
Okay?
Oh, wait.
55.
May that be published to the jury on the screen, Your Honor?
Sure.
So, Mr. Albert, that's obviously you on the right and Kenny Berkowitz on the left.
Correct.
Have you seen that photo before?
I believe I've seen it.
Do you recall when?
I believe that's my fundraiser for when I was running for the select board, that event that I spoke of earlier.
Okay. And when would it have been that you saw that photograph?
I'm not sure. I don't know if it was on my Facebook page when I was running for select board. It looks familiar.
Has Mr. Lally shown you that photograph?
No.
Has he informed you that the defense would be introducing that photograph during this trial?
Nope.
You can take the photo down, Mr. Bates. And the lights can go on. You would agree with me that one of your functions as a selectman is to oversee public safety in the town?
Yes.
And you would agree that the police department is a key component of public safety in the town of Canton?
Yes.
So part of your duties as a town selectman is to oversee the Canton Police Department, correct?
Objection, Your Honor.
I'll let him have it. Is that one of your duties, sir?
I believe so. I'm new at the, I'm recently elected, so I'm just going through it. But yeah, I believe so.
And you became a town selectman shortly after Kenny Berkowitz retired, correct?
I'm not sure when Kenny retired.
But you would agree with me that Kenny Berkowitz has both personal and professional relationships with you and members of your family, correct?
Can you rephrase that?
You would agree with me that the former Canton Police Chief, Kenny Berkowitz, has both personal and professional relationships with you and members of your family.
Objection, Your Honor. It's the same question.
Go ahead and answer that question.
I'm not sure I agree with that question.
Well, your brother Kevin Albert worked under Chief Berkowitz, correct?
Correct.
Would you consider that to be a professional relationship?
With them too, yes.
And your brother Brian Albert attended Chief Berkowitz's retirement party, did he not?
I have no idea.
But your brother Brian is also a friend of Kenny Berkowitz, is he not?
He may be, not sure.
And as far as your ties to the Canton Police, you would agree with me that Lieutenant Michael Lank is a member of the Canton Police Department, correct?
He is.
And you've been friends with him for years, correct?
I've known him for a long time.
You've been childhood friends with him since the age of 12, correct?
Somewhere around there, maybe earlier.
And you're tight with him.
I don't know if I call it tight.
He's not an enemy of yours, is he?
Oh, God, no.
No, he's a friend of yours, correct?
Sure.
And does sure mean yes?
Yes.
Now, your older brother, Brian, you've already testified, was a Boston police officer for years, correct?
Correct.
And he achieved some notoriety on a television show, did he not?
Objection.
Okay.
He was in the fugitive unit?
Correct.
And you know that your brother Brian was also a trained boxer, correct?
Objection.
Sustained.
Brian is a lot bigger guy than you are, correct?
Objection.
Sustained.
Your brother Brian Albert is someone who is close to his family, correct?
Yes.
And when I say his family, I'm talking about not just his wife and children, but also his extended family, correct?
Yes.
You were part of his family, obviously, correct?
Yes.
And your son Colin is part of his family, correct?
Yes.
The Albert family is close, correct?
Yes.
You all essentially grew up in Canton, correct?
Correct.
And you hung out with each other growing up, correct?
We were siblings, so
Of course.
yes.
And you still hang out with each other quite often, correct?
Like all of us,
In various combinations.
we have different relationships with my siblings.
Sure. But you see some more than others, but you hang out with your family, do you not?
Yeah, mostly during holidays,
And you go out for drinks together, correct?
occasionally,
And you're protective of each other, correct?
like most families.
And if someone had a dispute with a member of the Albert family, Brian wouldn't be happy about that, correct?
Objection.
Sustained.
You know that Brian would stick up for your kids, correct?
Objection.
Sustained.
Your son Colin is particularly close to your brother Brian, is he not?
Objection.
I'll let him have that. Do you know?
Yes.
In fact, your son Colin was a football player through high school, was he not?
Yes.
What was his number?
In high school?
Yes.
34, I believe.
And was that for 34 Fairview?
I don't think so.
Now, you testified you moved to Maple Street in Canton not long before January 28th of 2022, correct?
Correct.
And before that, you lived at 7 Meadows Ave in Canton?
Correct.
And that was when John O'Keefe was your neighbor, correct?
Correct.
I believe you testified he was a couple of houses away from you.
Yes.
And he was your neighbor for a series of years, was he not?
Yes.
While he was living in the neighborhood, you knew that he was working as a Boston police officer, correct?
Correct.
And you were familiar with him, correct?
What do you mean? What do you mean by familiar?
You knew who he was, you became familiar with him.
Yeah, he was my neighbor. I knew who he was.
Right. And you knew that he was not married, correct?
Yes.
And at a certain point, you knew that he was dating Karen Reed.
Yeah, at some point.
All right. Now, you would agree with me that your family has a police background, sir, correct?
I wouldn't agree with that statement.
2 of your brothers are or were police officers, correct?
Out of 7 of us, yes.
And you knew friends of your brothers who were also police officers or in law enforcement, correct?
Correct.
And you had already testified that you know some members of the Canton Police Department, correct?
Correct.
And you socialized with police officers, did you not?
Have I? Sure.
You've been to bars with police officers, correct?
Correct.
And you've drank with police officers, right?
Sure.
And we were friendly with police officers, correct?
Yes.
And with regard to, I'd like to ask you some questions about people specifically connected to this case. We've established that Lieutenant Lank has been a friend of yours for years, correct?
Yes.
We've established that you know former police chief Kenneth Berkowitz in such a way that you feel comfortable calling him before this jury Kenny Berkowitz, correct?
I know Kenny. Yep.
And he's actually donated to your campaign when you were running for town selectman, correct?
Correct.
And you also knew Michael Proctor prior to January 29th of 2022, correct?
Correct.
You've attended social events together with him, have you not?
Objection.
I'll let that one question.
Couple.
So, at some point, Michael Proctor came to question you, did he not?
Along with another trooper. Correct.
And at the point in time when Michael Proctor came to question you, you knew who he was, correct?
Yes.
You knew him by face, correct?
Correct.
And you knew him by name, correct?
Correct.
There was no need for Michael Proctor to formally introduce himself to you, was there?
Objection.
Sustained.
What did he say when he first walked in the door in terms of introductions?
Objection.
Sustained.
May we be seen as sidebar, Judge?
Sure.
Without getting into the precise wording, you'd agree with me that there was no need for Michael Proctor to formally introduce himself to you for that meeting, correct?
Yes.
He didn't need to say, "How do you do? I am Michael Proctor," correct?
No.
No. Do you consider the Proctors to be the Albert's second family?
Objection.
Do you consider that?
No.
You are aware that there are members of the Proctors family who have posted publicly that the Alberts
Objection,
are
Your
their
Honor.
second family, correct?
So the objection is sustained, and I'm striking that question. Disregard.
Now, at the time that Trooper Michael Proctor showed up to question you, sir, you knew that Karen Reed had been charged in this case, correct?
Yes.
And you knew that John O'Keefe had been found dead on your brother's lawn, correct?
Correct.
Did it occur to you that it was odd that the state police sent somebody from the Proctor family to interview you
Objection, Your Honor.
on February 10th of 2022?
Sustained.
All right. Now, you've testified that on January 28th of 2022, that day, that Friday that you were working, John O'Keefe stopped into D&E Pizza, your shop, correct?
Correct.
And there was discussion about whether you would be going out that night, and if so, where you would be, correct?
Correct.
Now, you've previously, on direct examination, characterized your relationship with him as being friends, correct?
Correct.
It's fair to say, however, that prior to January 28th of 2022, you had never exchanged personal information with John O'Keefe, correct?
You mean, I'm sorry, you mean like phone numbers or, but,
The cell number prior to that day.
no, I didn't.
And at that point in time, he had lived in your neighborhood for 4 to 5 years, correct?
Correct.
So I believe you've testified that that night after working, you went out around 10 minutes of 10 p.m.?
Roughly.
Before going out, did you have anything alcoholic to drink?
Think I may have had a beer at my pizza shop. I don't remember exactly.
So you have a refrigerator there that you can keep drinks cold, correct?
Among other things.
And you do have beers in that fridge for
Sometimes.
personal use?
Sometimes.
Do you know how many beers that you would have had before going out?
No.
And would you have drank that beer as you were cleaning up at the end of the night?
Probably.
Did you have anything to eat at the pizza shop?
No.
When did you last eat before you went out at 9:50 or so?
When did I last eat?
Yes.
It's a long time ago. I'm not sure.
And you knew that your wife Julie was starting the night at C.F. McCarthy's, correct?
Yes.
And you couldn't meet her there because you were still working, right?
Correct.
But at some point you heard that Julie and others were headed to the waterfall, correct?
Yes.
And that was where you planned to go after you closed up D&E Pizza.
Correct.
With regard to the time that you left, 9:50 or so is your best estimate of when you're closing the doors and walking over to the waterfall?
Yes.
And the waterfall is a short walk to D&E Pizza,
Yes.
maybe about 3 minutes?
About that.
And your plan was to walk there that night, correct?
Correct.
You had not taken a car to D&E Pizza anyway, right?
I don't believe so.
So what time did you get to the waterfall?
Shortly before 10. I don't know exactly.
All right. And yeah, I believe you've testified that John O'Keefe and Karen Reed were not there when you arrived, right?
Correct.
And the food that you ordered, do you remember what appetizers you would have gotten?
Probably like potato skins and some sort of chicken tenders. I would guess. It's 2 years ago, so I don't remember exactly.
All right, and did you order a drink along with the appetizers?
I believe so.
All right, and that would have been the Miller Lite that you talked about?
Correct.
Then not long after you got there, Brian Albert and Brian Higgins showed up, correct?
Correct.
And you had met Brian Higgins prior to that night.
Yes.
In fact, you had testified that you had seen him around quite a bit, correct?
A few times.
And you knew him, I believe your testimony was, from him working inside the Canton Police Station, correct?
I knew that he worked there.
Did you testify on direct examination, quote, I knew him from working inside Canton PD?
Yes.
And you've been inside Canton Police, correct?
Maybe twice in my life.
You knew that Brian Albert, your brother, and Brian Higgins were friends, correct?
I knew they knew each other.
So are you saying that they were acquaintances?
No, I guess they're friends.
You guess they're friends?
Yeah, they're friends.
Was there something confusing about my question the first time I asked it?
Objection, Your Honor.
In any case, would you agree that shortly before Brian Albert and Brian Higgins arrived at the waterfall, or shortly after they did, there was a couple whom, I believe you call them a Greek couple because their last name is difficult to pronounce for everybody. But do you remember them being there?
Yes.
All right. If I mention the name Kolakithis, does that ring a bell? Or do you...
That's them, yeah.
That's them, okay. And the whole group was either standing or sitting around a high-top table?
Correct.
And at 9:45 p.m., you texted John O'Keefe while you were at the waterfall, correct?
Correct.
Would you agree with me that the language of your text was, quote, get over here or I'll fuck up your lawn, end quote?
That was one of the texts.
I may just have a moment. May I approach?
Sure.
Oh, do we have, let's say, is there an evidence number?
No, it needs to be marked.
Okay. I'm sorry, I don't think I asked to approach. But
Go, that's fine.
thank you. I've placed a document before you, sir. Take a look at that and tell the jury whether or not you recognize it.
Yeah, I recognize it.
What is it?
It's a text message, 2 text messages.
Okay. And who are the participants in that text message exchange?
Me and John.
And what is it that you said and at what time?
So the first
May we
one.
approach?
Okay? Come on over. As I did yesterday. So before you consider any electronic communication in your deliberations, you must first find that it's more likely true than not true that the person who either authored or sent or created or transmitted the communication was in fact John O'Keefe and this witness, Chris Albert. If you do not find that it's more likely true than not that John O'Keefe sent one or that this witness was the person who sent the message or transmitted it, then you may not consider it in deciding this case. So you have clarification a bit, Mr. Yannetti, at this point?
I do, yes. And just for the record and for the juror's edification, this is part of Exhibit 48, which is already in evidence. But I would ask that this particular exchange be posted on the screen with the court's permission.
Sure.
Okay. And so you'd agree that when you say it was 2 text messages, they're both with regard to the same subject, correct?
What do you mean? I don't follow you.
It says get over here, right? And then the second is a continuation of that. If not, I'm going to fuck up your lawn, correct?
So you mean that's to tell him to come over to the waterfall?
Right.
Okay, I just didn't understand what you meant.
That's fine. So you're telling John O'Keefe this, correct?
Yeah, I'm telling him to come over and meet us.
All right. And that little emoji, that face emoji after, if not, I'm going to fuck up your lawn, that's
Yeah,
essentially-
it's a laughing face.
Right, so you're
a joke.
saying that, you're cracking up.
Yeah, it's a joke.
Okay.
Oh, sorry.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Okay,
Apologize.
okay, we can take that down. At about 10:45 p.m. or so, I believe you testified that was when John O'Keefe walked into the bar with his girlfriend, Karen Reed.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
Would you agree with me that between the time you arrived and the time you eventually left, that you did go up to the bar within that establishment a few times
I'm sure he did.
and bought a few rounds of drinks,
I'm sure.
including that one round of fireball shots?
Correct.
What was the state of your sobriety when John and Karen arrived?
Probably fine. Fine.
All right, you didn't feel like intoxicated
No.
or unable to, perceive what's going on. You were still in control of your faculties.
Yes.
And is it true that after John and Karen arrived, that your wife Julie didn't want to stay any longer, or too much longer?
She didn't want to. She had a headache, so she wanted to go home.
Right. And by that point in time, you had been there about an hour, maybe a little less.
When Karen and John arrived?
Right.
Yeah, about an hour.
All right, and you were having fun.
Sure.
And so Julie drove home, but you stayed, correct?
Correct.
All right. And in terms of Karen Reed's drinking, as far as you could see, she had that glass that she came in with that appeared to have a clear liquid in it, correct?
Correct.
And I believe you said either a lime or a lemon?
Thought I said a lime, but yep.
Okay. And you assumed that was, vodka and soda water or vodka in some type of mixer, correct? That was clear?
Correct.
And if she was, while drinking that night, if she was mixing in water in between alcoholic drinks, it would have been impossible for you to discern which drinks were water and which drinks were vodka, correct?
Yeah, I would have no idea.
You can't tell that by eyeballing a drink, right?
No.
Because both liquids are clear.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
in order to discern that, you'd actually have to be given a sip to see, right? Okay. But in any case, Karen did not appear to be under the influence of alcohol to you.
I didn't notice anything.
She wasn't stumbling, correct?
Nope.
She wasn't swaying.
I didn't notice.
She didn't appear to be unbalanced, correct?
I didn't notice anything.
She wasn't slurring her words.
Nope.
She wasn't talking gibberish, correct?
No.
She was engaging in normal conversation and she appeared to be under control.
Yeah.
And would you agree with me that she also appeared to be affectionate with John O'Keefe?
I wasn't really watching their interactions too much, to be honest.
But in any case, You never saw any arguing between the two of them?
I wasn't really paying attention to their
Okay. And
interactions.
You didn't perceive any tension between them, correct?
I didn't notice anything irregular.
Okay. And from your observations of Karen Reed that night, and you were there probably over 2 hours, were you not?
Total? About that, yeah.
Yeah. From your observations of Karen that night, you would have had no problem with her driving a car, correct?
I wouldn't even have thought about it.
Okay. Now, would you agree with me that of the group that you had met out, that you were the last person to leave the waterfall on January 29th of 2022?
I believe so.
Now, you previously, well, you testified on direct examination today, I believe, that you thought you got home between 12:05 and 12:10 a.m. on January 29th, correct?
It's what I remember.
If I suggested to you that you didn't even leave the bar until 12:13 a.m., would you quarrel with that?
Would I quarrel with it?
Yes.
No, I guess not. I mean,
All right. And is your memory exhausted as to the precise time that you left the bar?
is it exhausted?
Right. In other words, do you not remember the precise time that you left the bar that early morning?
It's over 2 years ago. I don't know the precise time.
Right.
That's why I said between 12:05 and 12:10.
That answers my question. Thank you. Could we have Exhibit 50, well, with the court's permission, can I publish Exhibit 53? It's a short clip from the waterfall.
Sure.
I think we need to back it up. Maybe start. If we could pause it for a second, please. Mr. Albert, you would agree with me this was clearly the end of the night?
Sure.
The lights are all on at this point.
Yes.
The bar appears to have largely emptied out.
Yes.
Okay, continue, please. Pause it. Oh, there we go. My co-counsel is much better at this than I am. Do you know who that person is who's leaving the bar at this point at 12:13 and 43 a.m.?
Christine, it might be better without that spotlight.
Okay.
See it now?
That's fine.
Yeah. I believe it's me.
Continue, please. Okay. You can take that off the screen. So, having now viewed that video with the timestamp of 12:13 and about 43 seconds or so, does that refresh your memory as to when you left the waterfall?
Yes.
That would mean it would have been impossible for you to get home to Maple Street by 12:05 or 12:10, correct?
Correct.
Now, it was about maybe a 7-minute walk home, would you agree with me?
From Waterfall to Maple? No, I said 7 minutes from D&E to Waterfall. Waterfall to Maple's probably less than 5 minutes.
So it's your testimony that D&E is closer to the waterfall than the waterfall is to Maple Street?
D&E's farther away from Waterfall than, farther away from where I live than Waterfall is.
I understand.
Oh,
that, but
I don't follow you, I'm sorry.
I'll try to clarify. I
Okay.
don't mean to be confusing here.
Oh, it's fine.
I'm not asking about the distance between D&E and your home. I'm trying to compare, or ask you to compare, the distance between D&E and the waterfall, and then the waterfall and your home. Do you see the difference?
I think so.
Would you agree with me that your home is farther from the waterfall than D&E Pizza is from the waterfall?
I don't follow you, I'm sorry.
Okay, so let's take it step by step. D&E Pizza to the waterfall, are they on the same street?
Yes,
How many establishments, if you know, are between D&E Pizza and the waterfall?
just a few.
Okay, so it's a very short walk from
Yes.
D&E Pizza to the waterfall.
Yes.
Correct? Your home on Maple Street is not on the same street as the waterfall, correct?
It's off of the same street.
But it's not on the same street.
No,
And your home on Maple Street is farther from the waterfall than D&E Pizza is to the waterfall. Is it
correct,
not?
correct.
Okay.
I didn't understand it earlier.
No, I
Apologies.
know it. I'm trying to work through this because, again, I'm not trying to trick you here. I just want to get the answer. So you would agree with me that it would take you longer to walk home from the waterfall than it would take you to walk to the waterfall from D&E Pizza.
Correct.
All right. And I believe you said that one walk was 7 minutes and one walk was maybe less than 5 minutes, correct?
Yes,
All right. The 7-minute walk would have been the walk home as opposed to the walk to the waterfall, correct?
yes,
All right. So you have agreed that you left the bar at 12:13, almost 12:14, according to the video, and it would have taken you about 7 minutes to walk home, correct?
not exactly sure how. I think
Can I
it-
see Counselor Teva for just a second, please? Thank you.
It's it's been pointed out to me that I think we're not making a connection here, and I think it might be my fault. With regard to the timing of how long it took you to go home, I believe your best estimate is about 5 minutes? Is that your testimony? And when I say home, I'm not talking about from D&E Pizza. I'm talking about that early morning when you're at the waterfall.
I understand. Yeah, I'd say around 5 minutes. I think from the waterfall to Maple Street.
Fair enough. So now, if you're leaving the bar at like close to 12:14, as indicated on the video, you're getting home somewhere around 12:19, 12:20, correct?
Roughly, yeah.
And what were you wearing that night?
Blue jeans, sneakers, I think, and like a sweatshirt.
Okay. And it had started to snow by that point.
A little bit.
So the ground was a little bit either slushy or wet.
Not slushy, but could have been wet.
Could have been wet. And the snow had not yet started to accumulate, or had it?
It didn't start. No.
All right. So you're walking home, but it was cold, correct?
Correct.
And would you agree that in the best case scenario, you might have had a little bit more clothing on for that cold walk home?
I think I had a sweatshirt on.
Right, but you could have used something else, right?
Oh, probably.
In light of the weather?
Probably.
All right, because you testified that by the time you got home, you were pretty cold, right?
Correct.
You hadn't, if it had been about a 5-minute walk, that was enough time for you to walk in almost shivering, correct?
Sure.
And given that there was precipitation, the snow had started, the sweatshirt would absorb the moisture as opposed to repel it, correct?
Sure.
And so you were wet as well when you walked in, right?
Sure.
And by that point in time, you were tired, correct?
I don't remember if I was tired, but
Okay.
I don't remember if I was tired at that point.
Okay. You had worked all day
Correct.
till late in the day, actually into the evening, correct?
Correct.
Taking pizzas in and out of a hot oven,
Correct.
as well as other food that you serve as well, correct?
Yep.
And you're now, and by the way, you'd had a couple of drinks or a few drinks, whatever it was, at the waterfall, correct?
Correct.
And you decided not to go to your brother Brian Albert's house, correct?
Correct.
That was in part because you weren't up for the continued partying at that point, correct?
Yeah, I just wanted to go home.
Right. And so when you got home, would you agree with me that your first priority would have been getting out of the wet clothes that you were in?
Correct.
And where would you have done that within your
In
home?
my bedroom.
And is this a townhouse? Or is it a freestanding residence?
It's a condominium.
Condominium? How many floors?
There's 3 floors.
And your bedroom's on the top floor?
Correct.
And the entrance is ground level?
Correct.
When you first entered the home in those wet clothes, where was your wife, Julie?
Upstairs in the bedroom.
And was she already washed up and ready for bed?
She was lying in bed.
And where did you go when you walked in the ground level?
I went up to the bedroom,
All right,
took off my clothes, jumped in bed.
all right. Do you have a master bath with regard to your bedroom?
There's a bathroom, yeah.
All right. That would have been where you brushed your teeth
But yeah.
and washed up?
But I did. That's where I would do those things, but I didn't do them.
You didn't do either of those things?
No.
Okay. Did you grab a drink of water before
Nope.
you went to bed?
Nope.
All right, so you essentially came home, and I think we agreed it was around 12:20 or so, give or take a minute,
Roughly.
and you made a beeline for your bedroom.
Correct.
Did you fall asleep shortly thereafter?
Soon after,
Within 5 minutes or so? 10 minutes?
I started to doze off. I don't know exactly how soon after I fell asleep.
All right. Sometime within 5 or 10 minutes, would you say?
I would say more like within 15 minutes.
15 minutes, okay. So with regard to getting home, and we'll call it 12:19, because I think that's more consistent with what you said, and understanding that it's just an estimate. If you're walking in the door at 12:19, it takes you maybe a minute to get upstairs.
About a minute,
You kicked off your sneakers downstairs, I imagine?
maybe. I don't remember. That was a long time ago.
Okay, and then you walked up 2 flights of stairs, right?
Probably ran up the stairs because I was cold.
Okay, all right. So you're getting up there around 12:20 or so, correct?
Roughly, yeah.
And you believe that you dozed off about 15 minutes later, which would have made it about 12:35?
Somewhere around there.
All right. Now, when you came home, you would agree with me that your son, Colin Albert, was not home, correct?
Not when I first got home.
And in fact, I think your testimony was that 10 minutes after you got home, he opened the bedroom door?
I think that's what I said, yeah.
Do you want to stick with that?
I'm just trying to recollect what I, thinking it over. So obviously it was a little bit longer.
Because you actually woke up when he opened the bedroom door, correct?
I don't think so.
Did you not just testify before this jury just, I don't know, maybe an hour ago, that you fell asleep and that your son Colin opened the bedroom door and woke you up to say goodnight?
Yeah, I guess that's what I said.
Okay. And when you testified to that on direct examination, that was when Mr. Lally was asking you questions, correct?
Correct.
And you knew that you were under oath at that time, correct?
Correct.
And you were trying to be as accurate as possible, correct?
Trying to be, correct.
All right. So in terms of the timing of this, assuming that he opened the bedroom door after you already fell asleep, if you're getting home upstairs to your bedroom around 12:20 and it takes you 15 minutes to go to bed, and that's around 12:35, then sometime after you're asleep, after 12:35, that's when Colin opens the bedroom door, correct?
I don't remember exactly.
Well, it's difficult for you to remember how long you'd been asleep for when Colin opened the bedroom door, correct?
Correct.
You don't know if it was 5 minutes, 10 minutes, or longer, correct?
I don't know exactly.
Right. But it was some time after you fell asleep.
To the best of my recollection.
Now, with regard to your son Colin, he obviously lived in the same neighborhood as John O'Keefe, because that's where your family lived, correct?
Correct.
And back in 2022, Colin Albert was 17 years old.
Correct. Part of the year.
And you knew that, like most teenagers, Colin drank alcohol with his buddies, correct?
Correct.
Can you explain for the jury who or what is Nebercracker?
What is Nebercracker?
Yes,
Like the character?
that's what I'm asking.
It's a character in a cartoon called Monster House.
And would you agree with me that Nebercracker in the movie Monster House was this kind of old curmudgeon who didn't want anybody on his lawn, correct?
The character, yes.
He was the get off my lawn guy, correct?
In the movie, yeah.
What was your nickname and your wife Julie's nickname for John O'Keefe?
Mr. Nebercracker.
All right. And your wife Julie actually had John O'Keefe plugged into his contacts as Nebercracker, correct?
Correct.
In fact, you were there one time when Julie showed Karen Reed, her phone to show how John O'Keefe was plugged in as Nebercracker, correct?
I believe so.
And This whole nickname started because of a conflict that Colin Albert had with John O'Keefe.
Not correct.
John O'Keefe complained to you about things that Colin was doing.
Not correct.
He would tell you that Colin used to throw beer cans or beer bottles in his bushes, correct?
Objection, Your Honor.
No, you can answer that. What's your answer to
That is not correct.
John O'Keefe told you that Colin used to flip him off, correct?
Not correct.
And say F you to him.
Never.
Colin used to cut through his yard.
Nope, that was Dylan.
You knew that John didn't like people cutting through his yard, correct?
No, I don't know that to be true.
Okay. So is it your testimony that John O'Keefe invited kids to cut through his lawn all the time?
I don't understand. Is that a question?
It was a question. I guess let me withdraw that and ask this. If John O'Keefe is never cracked, and he's the get off your lawn guy, are you denying that he doesn't like people cutting through his lawn?
Do you want me to, can I explain?
I just asked for an answer to my question. Mr. Lally will get up after I'm done, and I'm sure you can explain whatever you want.
So no, he's not no.
All right. Well, you would agree with me that there was a time when John O'Keefe was not home that you and your wife Julie went to his house
That is correct.
and you entered onto his property, correct?
On his front property, yes.
And you had drinks in your hand.
Correct.
And you thought it would be funny to have a photo taken of you and your wife with drinks in your hand on his property, correct?
Correct.
And you knew it would be funny because you knew it would annoy him, correct?
Objection, Your Honor.
Oh, you can go ahead. Can you answer that?
Yeah, he was actually asking us to watch his house while he was away.
Right, but that doesn't answer my question, which was he didn't ask you to go onto his property with drinks in your hand and take a photo, correct?
He asked us to watch his property.
Okay, but again, in answer to my question, the answer is no, he did not ask us to go on his property and take pictures of ourselves with drinks in our hand, correct?
Yeah, he didn't ask me to send him a photo.
And you would agree with me that Nevercracker wouldn't like a photo of somebody on his lawn with drinks in their hands, correct?
The cartoon character, Nevercracker?
Yes.
Objection, Your Honor.
Sustain. Next question, please,
Yes.
Mr. Yannetti.
I have the photo. May I approach you?
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Albert, I place two photographs before you. If you could take a look at those and tell the jury if you recognize what they depict.
I do.
What do those photos depict?
It's me and my wife straddling John's fence. We're giving a thumbs up in one of them and a smile in another one.
Okay. And you say John's fence, so that's actually on John's property, correct?
Part of it is, yeah. I mean, I don't know what the easement is from the street to the fence as ownership goes, but yeah.
All right.
I know the town owns a certain portion of it.
Would you agree with me that that photo was taken in April of 2021?
I'm not sure when it was taken, but if that's what you have for a date, then it's fine.
Okay. Who took that picture?
That's a good question. I have no idea.
Where was your son Colin that night when you had that picture taken?
I have no idea.
Would you agree with me that you texted those photos, or somebody texted those photos, whether it was you or your wife Julie, to John O'Keefe?
Absolutely.
And offer those a fair and accurate representation of the photos that you took?
Yeah.
All right. I would offer those, Your Honor.
All right, any objection?
No, Your Honor.
And with the court's permission, may they be published for the jury?
Okay.
With regard to that first photo, is that, well, first of all, whose house is that in the background?
That's John's.
And that is you on the right and your wife Julie on the left?
Correct.
We have the second photo, please. Okay. That is also John's house in the background there?
Correct.
And again, that's you on the right and Julie on the left, correct?
Correct.
Okay, we can take that photo down. Now, would you agree with me that those photos give some context to the text that you sent him on January 28th when you were trying to get him to come out and you threatened to, quote, fuck up his lawn if he didn't come out that night?
What do you mean give context to?
Well, in other words, here you are texting him photos of you and your wife on his lawn, correct?
Yes.
And that's a common theme that explains the January 28th text where you were threatening to fuck up his lawn, correct?
Objection, Your Honor.
Okay. I just have one more area that I want to cover with you, sir. You previously confirmed that when you walked in your door on January 29th of 2022 after coming home from the waterfall, your son Colin was not home, correct?
It's correct.
At that time, you had no personal knowledge of where he had been that night, correct?
That's correct.
Since that time, you know that he was at your brother Brian's house that night, Brian Albert,
It's correct.
your old home, correct?
Where I grew up, yep.
And you knew that address to be 34 Fairview Road.
Correct.
And you knew that that was the same house outside which John O'Keefe was found dead later that morning, correct?
Correct.
May I have a moment?